Hi, it's Stacy from the Blue Keystone. I sew and sell modest clothing. Today, I am showing you how to make a princess outfit. Who doesn't like making maybe you don't like making it, but what little girl doesn't like wearing a princess dress? And sometimes you find them and they're so expensive. And then you get them home and they get mud on it and you can't wash it, because when you wash it, it comes out of the dryer and it's like this big, or the trims come off, or it's got music on it, so you can't ever wash it, and then it's crawling around on the floor because it's so dirty. No. This is cheaper and you can wash it. Alright, so what I'm going to do is we're going to start with a t-shirt that fits your child, okay? So, t-shirt that fits your child, and then another t-shirt that does not fit your child. It doesn't fit. Anyway, this one, or maybe two, it depends on how full and how much ruffles and lace you want to put on it. But we're going to make a princess dress out of this and lace and trim and whatever you may have around your house. Sometimes they sell these little tops like this. It already has lace on it. Use this one. They come in baby sizes. You could find it in pink and do it in pink, black, or maybe like a witch's thing. What you want is the measurement from where the shirt sits on their neck to where you're going to put their waistline, and from their waistline to how long you want it. And those are the two measurements that you need. Let's get going. You turn your shirt inside out. That number is, for her it was 10. And I like to have the waist just a bit higher, so I'm going to go to 9.5, because higher waist, if you want to err on one side or the other, higher waistbands look better than too low. Then you're also going to need to add some for seam allowance. So we're back at the 10. There are all kinds of fancy-tancy little marking tools, but you may be doing this at 1 o'clock in the morning, the night before Halloween, or the night before her birthday, or whatever it is, and you cannot go to the store and get those markers. You can do a pencil. Nobody's going to see it. That's why I turned it inside out. And this is part of the seam allowance. It's not going to get seen. Be careful with this band. It will stretch out super easy, so try not to be messing with it too much. I need this length from her waist down to be 24 inches. And since I didn't get the biggest men's shirt I could find, I gotta go way up here, which is just barely shy of the neckline. And once I cut that off, then I need to turn this inside out. I'm going to match these back up, and I'm going to sew it down. Sew it down using a stretch stitch. So I have this little heartbeat stitch on here, and I'm going to use that one. Alright, so now I have dyed this. Before I sew the top to the bottom, I'm going to cut out the white. I'm going to do mine half. So if you remember, it was, it was 24 inches. And I'm going to do the little, peplum, maybe 12 inches. You won't see it, so I'm going to mark it with my pencil. We're going to gather this first so that it fits here, and then we'll gather the whole thing so that it fits for here for the waist. Okay, for this gathering, I'm just going to use the edge of my presser foot here, and I'm using the longest stitch length. So if you don't have this machine, just use the longest stitch length that you have. You also can turn up the tension, and that will help you gather. Okay, if you're not comfortable doing that, then leave it where it is. But I'm going to turn mine up so it will help gather. I'm going to actually turn mine all the way up to like 8. All right, let's go. Okay, so as you can see here, turning that tension dial up already did a lot of the gathering work for me. Do not cross here. Once you get here, come very close, but do not cross. I'm gonna do one stitch in there and I'm gonna call that good. Okay, I got that. Okay, now on your tails, make sure you have a long tail, especially the top. And the bottom's not so much. But if you gathered it too much, which it's possible I did, I may have to pull some of that out. My tension dial may be back at 6, and we'll see what that does for me. Okay, again, don't overlap. Let's see how well we did with that tension. Again, I'm going to leave myself a long string here, cut it off, and whoa, perfect. At this point, you can just put these two together and sew it on. I'm going to put a little bit of tulle in here, but you don't have to, okay? And I'm going to have the right side facing out as well. So the blue was the right side facing out, then the tulle, then the white right side facing out. So you just want to pin this all along and try and make it as even as possible. Now we're back to sewing our layers together. I am just going to use that same long stitch because we're just basting them together. Make sure you turn your tension back to the 4 or wherever it was. If you have one that is slightly bigger, you want it on the bottom. It will feed through a little bit better. In my case, my blue is a little bit bigger, so I'm going to put it on the bottom so it feeds through just a little bit more than the other layer.
Which door?
That door right there. Yep. We are ready to attach the skirt portion to the top. We are going to do right sides together. So the white is the right side, this is the right side, and I'm going to put them together. And the easiest thing is to turn the skirt part inside out to put the right sides together. Now, we do have seams in this. The blue has a seam and this has a seam, so you're going to want to match those up. Don't skip pinning. What I do is I pin either seam, then I pin the centers, and then I pin in between. So right now I've started to pin in between, and you can see that there's a little bit of gappage there. You won't see it. It'll be fine. As long as you have this on the bottom where the feed dogs are feeding, it will be fine. Okay, so now I'm going to stitch this to the top. Remember I said my t-shirt's just a hair bigger, so I'm putting it on the bottom, and then I'm going to adjust my stitches. Make sure all that we've done with the tension, you want it to be back to where it's supposed to be. Stitches where it goes straight, 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 and then it catches over here, and straight, straight, catches over here. That's not gonna look good because you're gonna have catches and their straight is gonna be on this part. So you want it to be straight, 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 and then zigzags over there. So you want the majority of it to be straight with zigzag over there. That makes a difference in what you choose. So in my case, for this machine, the Brother LX3817, I am actually using number 15, which will give me the straight here, and it'll zigzag over here to allow for some stretch. Okay, and look, you can almost see Cinderella. All we need is to put this up. There's a couple ideas that you can do with this. It's really, really thick. Stitch it. Use elastic. Safety pin it. Leave it out. I'm going to use elastic thread on here, and I'm going to stitch it. Okay, so this is the elastic thread. You can get this at Walmart. Notice it's really thin, and you're going to have to twist it onto the bobbin yourself. Don't twist it tight, don't pull it, and don't be too loose with it, but you want it to stay on there. And you don't need a lot. This is more than enough. Don't cut it because you don't want it to bounce back into the bobbin, okay? So I'm gonna leave that out like that. We are going to get the dress, and I'm going to get the center part here. I feel like the fairy godmother. Make it pink, make it blue, make it pink, make it blue, make it pink. For the ruffle on the pink dress, I cut some of my leftover pink. This was not dyed, it was just pink shirt that I bought. And I cut some of the leftovers into 2.5-inch strips. And I'm gonna sew these into one long strip, and then I'll show you how I ruffle it. Okay, so to make the ruffle, I have this long strip. I'm going to put my stitch length back at the longest. I'm going to put this in the middle here. I'm just going to try and keep it in the middle. It's not picky. And I'm going to gather. Remember how we gathered using the tighter tension? I'm going to do that again. I'm going to put it at 7 this time because I don't want it to be too tight. Before I sew it, I just want to kind of take the skirt edge out and the ruffle and make sure that it is not going to be too small. So make sure you put your tension back with all the tension. That is the easiest thing to forget. And put your stitch length shorter because you want this to stay on. Okay, so here is the bell version. I cut the top layer the same as I cut the bottom layer, the same size, and then using my elastic in the bobbin, I just stitched a line. I drew a line in thirds like I did before. Let's see, it looks easier over here. So I measured it, and then I drew a line from thirds, and then I measured at the bottom and drew a line at the thirds with soap, and then I connected them with a straight line and marking it with soap, and then I still have this side. I'm gonna follow this line that I have, and I'm just gonna stitch. So I'm tightening it just a bit, and the only thing with this is that you want to keep all your settings the same. So once you stitch, you want to keep them all the same so that it'll all be the same gathering, so it won't be wonky in one spot or the other, okay? I'm going to put it with the bottom. So I'm going to put the bottom inside. So the bottom is right side out. I'm putting it inside and on top of there, and then I'm going to sew these 2 layers together, and then I'll sew them to the top just like I did the blue Cinderella dress.